And now we're going to start with our first, what should I say, thematic session of the day. We're going to hear from 5 speakers and then broaden it out into a panel discussion. And the theme is scaling markets and solutions. Because as we all know, dear friends and colleagues, there are no shortage of solutions. The issue is, how do we create the scale? How do we ramp them up, these green technologies, so that we really manage to address our Paris climate goals, while at the same time recognizing global differences and the challenges of emerging economies. Let me introduce you to our speakers now. I'm delighted to say we're joined by Joakim Lagerholm, Vice President for the Nordics and Baltics of Siemens Energy. I don't need to tell you that Siemens Energy covers all the major renewable energy groups: offshore wind, hydrogen, carbon capture, grid connections. And he is going to tell us what he thinks we've reached and where the bottlenecks are, what he sees as the main challenges from the point of view of a major supplier to the energy industry. Joakim Lagerholm.
Thank you very much, Nisha.
Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Good morning to everyone. And thank you for the invitation to come to Trondheim. Always a pleasure to visit this lovely city. I'm going to tell you a bit about what the world looks like from a supplier's point of view. We are in a world that is rapidly changing, as we have heard here. We are in a world that needs affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy at a rapidly growing pace. This is where a lot of the different stakeholders today on the screen will tell you their stories. I'll tell you it from the views of a manufacturer of equipment that are right smack in the middle of how we do enable this. Different areas of the world start from different places. I think up here in the Nordics, we are in a very comfortable place. We are in a place where we have affordable energy. We have reliable energy. We have one of the most reliable networks in the world. And we have quite a sustainable world around us already. However, we are not there yet where we want to be. And there are a few topics that we need to tackle along the way. At Siemens Energy, we are one of the leaders in the energy solutions in the world. Roughly 1/6 of the energy in the world comes somehow through our products or systems or solutions. We employ 96,000 people around the world. Here in Trondheim, around 500 people, and in Norway, 1,200. We're present more or less all over the world and are smack in the middle of making the energy transition come to life. One of the things which we are doing here in Trondheim, for example, is making sure that we use the energy that we do have when we do need it. We actually have a battery factory here in Norway, which is actually quite extraordinary. Usually battery factories are placed somewhere a bit more remote, but we are very proud to actually have a factory right here. The other things that we are doing, it's not all about producing green energy. Would be lovely if we could all go in that way. We have our wind parks, we have our wind business, which is doing that. But that simply won't cut it. We cannot transfer from one to the other just overnight. We do need also something to keep our network stable. We do need something that can produce energy when the wind is not blowing or when the sun is not shining. So there are some transition technologies that we still need here. Just read the news, UK government today announced some sort of package also to actually build more gas power plants. This is their way of making sure that they actually have a stable energy production going forward for the next years. We do transport and storage of energy. It doesn't matter what we build up. Is it now conventional power plants? Is it wind, solar, whatever? That electricity needs to be transported somehow. And that is something we are working very heavily on. It is a bottleneck today. It is, quite honestly, this is a market which is totally booming at this point in time. And we are seeing transition technologies at this point in time which are being stopped a bit because they simply cannot connect to the grid. We have a backlog in our networks that has not been built out in the past years, and we cannot build everything overnight right now. Then maybe the most important one is the actually using energy in a smarter way. The energy that we have today, we can use it a lot smarter. We don't have to use it the way we are right now, and we don't have to build out a lot of new renewable energy if we can make sure that we use those energies a lot smarter and in a more efficient ways. Some ideas on this side is, I heard here from one of the participants today how they are doing in their company, making sure that they use pumps in different ways and taking actually down their peak load and reducing a lot of CO2 emissions also on that. This is also part of where we are working on. Then we can turn it in another way and say, okay, look, if we do have excess energy at some point in time, what do we do with this energy? Can we store it all? We can store it in many different ways, but we can also turn it to something else. We can turn it to hydrogen. Hydrogen economy is something that is really booming at the moment. Let's see in which way it goes. Does it go in this way? Does it go in that way? It's a very, very interesting market. Then the market is, however, global. And we are all fighting over the same manufacturing resources all over the world. So if we want to do something in Norway, we have to make sure that we get those resources, those competences, and I think the rector here said that he's also worried about the competences that we do have. I can echo that fully. We are in a place right now where we are screaming for competent resources all over the world, also here in Trondheim, by the way. Then another topic, if we look at the manufacturing of certain things, for example, windmills. Biggest hurdle that we have right now is actually the predictability of the projects. We heard here earlier this morning from the Member of Parliament that there is a project, I think it was called Goliath Offshore up in the north, which is maybe coming earlier. Sounds like a good topic that is coming earlier, right? Actually, for me as a manufacturer, this is the headache. We cannot plan it. And when these projects go up and down and earlier and later and going here and there, this is actually the worst case for us. Then we cannot commit to these. And this is something which we would like the whole planning authorities and so on to keep on to the timelines that they have sticked. Otherwise, we will need to take the projects which are more predictable. Good, that was a short intro from my side.